He is a new kid on the trainer's block. He has been in racing for a while, starting off by listening to radio coverage of races. He then made the life-changing decision of joining the last batch of individuals in the Jamaica Racing Commission's Trainers School. He officially graduated on Friday, May 12, 2023. Then on the following day, Saturday, May 13, 2023, he saddled his first runner, Catalina. And, as fate would have it, Paul Swaby won his first race as a trainer from his first starter.
Field in line thereof. Little Grovey thing came out awkwardly. Always vigorous, also running at the back. JJ the striker runs the Indian. Catalina, they took off quickly. Curlin's Flight is right there with them. And these four in a very tight clump as they make their way toward the 6. Fault line chases on the outside of an improving Little Grovey thing. Buff Bay is just 4 or 5 lengths in behind them and always vigorous trailing the field. They're on the run toward the final 5 and Curlin's Flight now gets that lead, leaving the 5 just a half a length in front. JJ the striker right there, Little Grovey thing on the outside, runs the Indian tucked in on the rail looking for a saving run as they make their way into that turn. Catalina asked to pick up. Fault Line is racing next. A gap opens up to Buff Bay and just at the back of the field remains always vigorous as the tempo has increased on the run toward the 3. JJ the striker urged to keep that lead. Catalina now slicing into it. Little Grovey thing is there. Fault Line in the blue on the outside runs the Indian in front of in the green Curlin's Flight. Buff Bay has made some progress but still has a lot more to do and always vigorous, firmly planted at the back. They're into the lane. A quarter of a mile to run. JJ the striker out in front. Catalina now throws down the attack on the outside and Catalina joins JJ the striker and now Catalina gets the head in front. JJ the striker digging in once again. They're at the furlong pole and it is Catalina and the apprentice Calvin Bailey beginning to inch away. JJ the striker battling to hold second, beginning to run on for third. That's Fault Line, but it's all over. Catalina will win by 4 or more. JJ the striker just possibly second over Fault Line, then runs the Indian. Buff Bay has finished back in 5th.
Swaby joins the team from QuickGallop.com and its YouTube channel, The Quick Galloper, in telling his lifetime narrative.
You would have graduated on Friday, and by Saturday afternoon you were being doused in the winner's enclosure with your first winner, Catalina. Upon reflection, how great a feeling was that for you?
Well, it was a great feeling, you know, to see that I graduated Friday evening and come Saturday I have my first horse going to race, you know, and it was like 6 of us from the class that had entries, you know. So, you know, it had a good feeling to know that I was the first one to do it, even though Mr. Cunningham, Trainer Cunningham, won, but he had gotten disqualified. So I make certain that I had to bring one for the team to deliver on the day.
Congrats again. A victory like that, does it make it appear that this training thing is an easy task?
Well, I mean, training is not easy, you know. Winning races is not easy. I mean, there's a lot of ins and outs, and you have to get everything right. You have to have a teamwork going. It's not just training and winning race. You have the groom, plus the management side, and I mean, we all have to be pulling one way, working as a team in order to be successful.
All right, so people would have seen Paul Swaby as the racehorse trainer, setting this record here of saddling your first runner and, you know, getting him past the horseshoe in front. We know each other for a long, long time. I know you as a footballer first and foremost. You're also a track and field man, being a member of the great Racers Track Club under the guidance of Glenn Mills. Where did horse racing first start for Paul Swaby?
Well, from a youngster, you know. Even though my first love was football, but growing up, my dad used to be in horse racing. I used to listen to the English race on the radios at home. He used to carry the radios there in the morning to listen to the English commentary. So I get involved from there. watching Lester Piggott, Joe Mercer, Willie Carson riding, and then in the Saturday afternoon now you have the local racing, trainer like Kiddy Mattis, Billy Williams and Fiani. You know, them draw my attention because, I mean, Kiddy Mattis for one had some good horses that I like Legal Light was one of my favorite horses.
So we're talking about from the 70s, Paul?
Yes. Kadula, and then you have Billy Williams coming and Fiani with his top flight horses. So my interest was there from a long time, you know.
Did horse racing get involved or in any way try to destabilize your schooling? I know it did for me.
Well, not really, no, because I go to school, play soccer, and had to do my schoolwork, and my parents was always there behind me, you know.
Which school is that?
I used to attend Camperdown High School, you know, so, I mean, I had to do schoolwork, but I make time to play ball, and on the weekends I would be watching racing. So that's how it went for me.
And since we're at school, I know you played Manning Cup. How many years you played Manning Cup for Camperdown?
Well, I did 2 years, from 83 and 84 season.
And you also played for Mountain View in the minor league.
Yeah, from 82.
What got you involved in track and field? How did that one come about?
Well, when I was at high school, as I say, I played soccer, but most of my classmates used to run track. So they support me in the football. So when track season started, I would be around them to support them. And sometime on the weekends, I would be going to track meets and watching them. And then, you know, horse racing coming like track and field. I like to see athletes compete at high levels, and you know, it is great. You know, I like the competitive sport. So that's how
the track and field, the track and field side came into it. And obviously that's where you would have met Mr. Mills and...
Yeah, from I was going Camperdown and being around the guys when they're training in the evening, watching them, you know. And when I left school, I still hang out around them and, you know, go and cheer for them. So it was very, very good for me to be around them.
And now you're a member of the board of Racers Track Club.
Right.
How did that come about?
Yeah, they formed in the early 80s, which they had a lot of school boys running for the club, like Garfield Campbell, John Meir, and Derek Thomas, and so forth. So I was there from day one. So, you know, just that the club grew.
It's the giant that it is today.
Right.
Trainer, who were you attached to in your apprenticeship period in horse racing?
In horse racing, okay. When I just started out, I was with Fitznorm Williams, and then there for a couple of years, then transitioned to Gary Crawford until...
That's where you got your license?
Yeah, until I started school. That's how it come about. I was in New York for like 16 years and used to be at Aqueduct and Belmont for a good period of time, talking to trainer like Karen McClacken, who was one of my good friends, and Bruce Levine, you know, and I read a lot and try to put it into practice. That's how, you know, I start out with Legendary You, and the first start was a win, you know.
So you're used to that?
Yeah, even though it was running in my name,
right.
But he won on his first start with Shane Ellis.
Okay. You have a barn here now. What is your barn like? How many horses?
Well, I have 5 runners at my barn right now. 3 3-year-old, 1 5-year-old, and 1 2-year-old. Well, for the 3-year-olds, Lyle Action, who won earlier, had a little setback, but he's coming around nicely. and he's back in training. So we see how that go later down the road.
Trainer, I know you spoke about your time in New York and being around some trainers there. Who locally are some of the trainers who would have inspired you?
Well, like I said, growing up, I look up to Kiddy Mattis, Alan B. Williams, and Philip Fian. Those were my favorite trainers.
Okay. And I mean, it's just the beginning, just the beginning for you. What are your hopes and aspirations, generally speaking?
In general, my hopes is to have, say, probably about 10 horses in my barn and try to make the best of it and hope I can find a classic winner soon,
Yeah.
and take it from there. We just started out, so, we have a creep before we can walk, so I have to just take it one day at a time.
One day at a time.
You have been around horses based on what you said. Who do you think are some of or the best horse you have seen race at Caymanas Farm?
Locally? Well, for one, I love Legal Light. I would say Royal Dad, War Zone, Kazoche, and Eros, I think was a very special one, and Secret.
And likewise, some of the jockeys?
Well, no doubt Winston Griffiths.
Who incidentally was your batchmate as a trainer.
He was my batchmate. And Emilio Bimbo Rodriguez, Hubert Bartley. I like Joe Buchanan.
I see you've gone vintage there. What about present day? Who are some of the riders who would impress you?
Present day, I see like a Javanil Pattison, who I like when he's on a leader. He seems to rate that horse so perfectly that he's hard to beat when left alone on the headline. Anthony Thomas, who I think is a good rider. You have some younger ones coming up, but for now, those two right now.
And I'm sure for your purposes, one Calvin Bailey will always be etched in your mind because he was aboard your first winner.
Sure. I mean, he gets on the horses in the morning for me, and he knows the ins and outs of all of them. So it's only fitting for me to give him the ride, even though some pundits say, oh, he's not winning any races and things, but I mean, I have him as a competent rider. I know he could get the job done, so I didn't have any doubt in putting him up on the horse.
Finally, trainer, being a serious trainer now, how do you split your time between the football, track and field, and horse racing?
Well, horse racing is early in the morning, because you want to beat that sunrise. So you got to get here early in the morning, do your thing, take the horses them to the track and train them, and get everything coordinated. So by like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, the training session is finished, feeding up is finished. Then in the evening, I would go by the UA track to go watch the athletes them train in the evening. Football right now, I'm out of football. I only watch.
Okay.
So that don't count right now.
All right, Paul, we want to wish you all the best and certainly much more success as we go along. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching another video produced by the team from QuickGallop.com, YouTube channel, The Quick Galloper. Please stay on the channel for more enlightening videos on those involved in local horse racing. Please like, subscribe, and press the notification bell.